think Tevez going to Juventus, what a coup that was for me. I mean,
on a head-to-head battle, Atletico Madrid can do more damage to Barcelona than the other way around.
Either he's really blind or he's fixing the match. I can't see it any other way.
I'm trying to get Sir Bob on my side here by saying City will win the Premier League.
It is an upset. You would expect Man United to go and win there.
Over $1 billion was paid in transfer fees between the clubs in Europe.
It's football. It's damn football. Like Ferguson said, football. Bloody marvellous.
Yeah, well, the celebration was, I can't believe I just scored against Mexico. At one point, Parma, I think it's only like 224 players under contract. Well, they're going to throw me out of here, fellas. You're going to get me arrested on your show.
If you're a serious talent, you're going back and you're playing for Santos. You know, you're going back to play for, like in Argentina, for River Plate or Boca Juniors, or you're going to Europe.
He looked like the Ryan Giggs of old. He was more creative than any player on the pitch. He made Mata look stupid. He made Rooney look silly.
Now, the Premier League is the most exciting league out there. I think it's probably the best marketed league without a question.
When you look at the draw for the Champions League, you kind of say, well, all the pieces kind of fell into place for everybody except City.
I am your host, Joe Usello. Sir Bob, Mike Orr. My co-host, Rob Rojas. My trusted co-host, Ben the Machine. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 99 of Low Limit Football. I'm your host, Joe Usello, and apologizing for my lateness, as unfortunately some of us have to work for the man, so we get home a little late. Normally we do a lot of prep work with the equipment before we get everything up and rolling, and I just didn't have enough time to do any of that tonight. So I do apologize for the late start, so we're going to kind of cut things a little short. Normally I like to talk about what's happened during the week, but I'm going to jump right up to Toronto and see my boy Mike Orr. Mike, how are you tonight?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. Better late than never, right, buddy?
Yeah, you're tardy.
Oh, tell me about it, man. I don't even want to talk about it. It's just one of those days. We had ourselves a hell of a week, thankfully, though, in the world of football. We had some great games.
We did? It sucked.
Well, I guess it depends on what sideline you're on. I mean, I'm sure Debbie Santos, and again, I don't even have the chat loaded up yet, but I'm sure Debbie is not happy about this week's results. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to actually have our guest on here in about 45 seconds or so. We're going to give him a quick buzz. We have two great guests tonight, Mike. We have from BeIN Sport, BeIN Sport's newest talking head, as I like to call them. Kevin Egan is going to join us in about a minute. And André Kfouri from ESPN will be joining us just at about 7 o'clock. We're going to talk anything and everything. We're going to talk El Clasico. We're going to talk about Man City for a minute. And then we're going to talk about the upcoming Champions League matches this week. We're going to talk about, the week that was. We're going to have a good show, you and I, don't you think?
I hope so. We always miss Rob, but we'll manage through.
Yeah, and and again, like I had said previously, I was working for the man tonight and I couldn't get out in time. Rob is currently working for the man and can't get into the show tonight, so... But Mr. Rojas does wish us the best, and he, of course, has questions for our guests, so we'll be able to definitely get those in for him. So, Mike, do you want to give us a quick trivia question?
All right. Just let me find it here. Okay. Which three non-European players have won the most Premier League titles?
3 non-Euros have won the most Premier League titles.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to ask that for you again in a minute because I have to write it down. I don't even have my book open. But I will definitely come up with some kind of name. 3 non-Euros Champions League titles.
Premier League titles.
Premier League titles. Non-Euros Premier League
No
titles.
wonder you get them wrong.
Hey, I'm rushing around here, man. Non-Euros EPL titles.
Yeah, the most.
Got it. Most. The 3, correct? 3 of them.
Yeah.
All right. Do we cheat them and how? Or Mo, Larry, and Curly will figure it out towards the end of the show. So, without further ado, I'd like to give Kevin Egan a call and see if we can get him on the line and get things rolling the way we should have tonight. So joining us now on Low Limit Football, and I apologize for my tardiness. Well, I will in a moment. As soon as we get him, I will apologize for my tardiness. But again,
hello.
Hi, Kevin. This is Joe Usello from Low Limit Football. How are you?
Hey, very well indeed. Thank you.
Thank you, and I apologize for being tardy. I know we're under some time constraints, so I will definitely have you out on time. But thank you for joining us.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no problem at all. I'm collecting my wife from work, so I just don't want to be. I just don't want to be late. And I said I'd made her and grab a bite to eat. So, yeah, I appreciate it if that's 6:50 if that's okay.
Oh, of course, absolutely, no problem at all. So I want to open with my first question that I've asked every single BeIN Sports guest that has come on to the show, from Matteo Benetti to Phil Shane to Ray Hudson himself. My question to you is, and I know you've, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been at BeIN now for a couple of months, correct? About 2 months?
Yeah, nearly 2 full months now. It's been probably 6-7 weeks.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say it's really, really close. So my question to you is, in the early stages of your BeIN career, who is your favorite person to work with?
That is tough. All right, let me think back. Walking in the door, who did I meet for the first time? I have to say, to be honest, Kay Murray is a standout human being. Like the nicest of them, like the most genuine person you could meet. Such a kind heart. So she stands out to me. When I first arrived in, she was so welcoming, offering to help in any way in terms of moving from Chicago. My wife and I had just gotten married, so it was a bit of a whirlwind couple of weeks. So when we moved down, she was very helpful. So I'd have to say probably Kay, and I'd say Matteo Benetti would be a close second.
Really? Okay.
But everybody, in all honesty, that's being unfair and picking someone out because everyone's been great.
No, I know, and I know we put everybody in the spot, but I've got to say to you, the only person that did not pick Kay, as far as I can remember, the only person that did not pick Kay Murray is Kay Murray. Everyone speaks so highly of her, and we've had her on the show, and she was an incredible guest. She was wonderful to talk to and a font of knowledge, especially when it comes to talking about all things Spain, because she would work there prior to coming over to BeIN. And I know you and I are going to get to El Clasico, but I want to ask you, before we go right into Spain, I do want to ask you an Italian question.
Sure.
You and Matteo this weekend did cover, or at least reviewed the Juventus AC Milan matchup from the weekend. As you can recall, Juventus was a 1-0 victor over Milan with a Paulo Dybala goal late in the second, or midway through the second half. My question to you is: obviously Juventus has won 4 Scudetti in a row, and they are certainly in danger of not being able to win their 5th. Where they stand right now, I believe, is 6th in the table, but they are 9 points behind Inter Milan at the moment. Do they have enough with 2/3 of the season left to go to be able to catch all of these teams that are in front of them and win their 5th Scudetto?
Yeah, it's a strange one with Serie A this season. I certainly think they do, and I definitely think they click. Talking to the likes of, say, Christian Vieri, away from the set and upstairs, he says the same thing, because he just thinks they need a little bit of time to click. The motivation is difficult when you win 4 on the bounce like that. Now, I find that hard to believe, given that, you're a professional footballer, success is an addiction. So you want to try and go out and win that 5th one, like you said. But in saying that, taking away Tevez, taking away Arturo Vidal, Pirlo, they're 3 massive personalities as well as players and as well as goal production when you look at the goals and assists that they've contributed over the past few years. So it will take a little bit of time, but they're definitely, I'd say, 1st or 2nd in terms of talent. Now, I look at Roma, I look at Fiorentina, and I look at Inter, and I'm not convinced that they can go the whole way. I think that they'll stumble. Inter Milan was a strange day for them yesterday, scoring 4 goals, 4 goals from different goal scorers as well. But I just feel like Atletico Madrid, that somewhere along the line they'll fail to get that goal, or they'll be pegged back. And the matches are so tight for them right now, I think they'll get caught out eventually. But in saying that, they do have good depth. But looking at the other teams, Fiorentina, still yet to be convinced. They had a 2-2 draw yesterday. But I love Napoli.
Okay.
Massive fan of what Sarri has been able to do. Love watching their football. And going forward, they definitely look like the most exciting and well-oiled machine right now. So, in terms of a preference, I'd love to see Sarri go on and win the Scudetto with Napoli.
Yeah,
And I definitely think Juventus could be there or thereabouts toward the end. But there's 5 teams for me that I think will be narrowed down to maybe Napoli, Juventus, and Roma.
And especially, you bring up Sarri with the job that he did at Empoli, which basically earned him the position at Napoli with Rafa Benitez moving on. It certainly would be, kind of certainly a success story, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
And they played...
Yeah, big time.
Napoli plays such attractive football. Although this weekend, when I watched them, they didn't look nearly as explosive, especially guys like Lorenzo Insigne. Just didn't seem like they had that bite that they've shown in their previous 3 or 4 weeks. Just in their matches. I mean, what did you think of that?
Yeah, that's an interesting one to say that. I thought they looked very comfortable, especially in the second half. Just their ability to string passes together. But you're right, maybe that explosive edge was missing for him. What I love is, even in Europe, the ability to bring in the likes of El Kadori and other players, Gabbiadini, who can come in and contribute. And Gabbiadini had 2 in Europe there just a couple of weeks ago, albeit it was a very comfortable match against Midtjylland, I believe. But it's a very, very well-oiled machine, like I said, and I just love the football that they play. And talking to Andres Cordero at work, he is a massive fan. We were calling him Sarri Potter yesterday. I saw that on Twitter. And he has been able to wave his little wand because he's playing some great stuff. And the thing about Napoli is, and the sad thing for Napoli is, if they do succeed this season and they do play some great football and go on and win something, Mr. Sarri Potter could be on his way out the door to someone bigger and better, maybe.
Sure, absolutely. And, with all the talk, every once in a while you hear the rumblings about Rudy Garcia possibly being on the way out at Roma. It would make sense that a guy like Sarri would move in there. And with Roma's really a similarly built team to Napoli in terms of that speed and firepower. So it certainly would make sense if that ever happened. But you and I are speculating 4, 5, 6 steps down the road.
Yeah.
But it would be fun to watch what we said here come true. Let's head back over to Spain, because they played this little game, I guess, on Saturday. At least I guess at least it was big enough to fly Phil and Ray over for the match. The Clasico, El Clasico. What were your first thoughts on the match when the final whistle blew?
Oh, when the final whistle blew, it was a clap for Barcelona in the sense that their performance was sensational. But I did feel, as soon as that lineup was announced, now, if you remember correctly, whether you were on Twitter or not expecting the lineup like I was, it was delayed, and there was a big time delay in the Real Madrid team. And eventually it was announced, and I was shocked to see the team that was picked. I expected Carvajal at right back. I did expect, if I'm honest, Casemiro in midfield. And I wasn't sure whether Benzema would start. And it just smacked, like a lot of people have said, of a team that Florentino Perez has gone and picked, and the players have picked. And it did not smack or look like a Rafa Benitez 11. And in the end, it nearly felt like he said, okay, well, here we go. Here's your attacking team that the fans have been crying out for, that the president has been crying out for, and they went out and got absolutely hammered. And it did not look good at all. They looked completely and utterly exposed in the centre of midfield, an area where Casemiro has been so good this season. And just overrun. You just look at the first goal, for example, how Luka Modric was exposed. And he hasn't been as bad in a good long time. I thought Luka Modric was poor, but in saying that, when you look at the players that Barcelona had in that area of the field, he was exposed. Both he and Cruz were exposed because they were simply outnumbered by better players on the day as well. But Roberto, how he was able to just break through and feed Luis Suarez like that, I thought it was marvellous. But credit to Barcelona, massive performance on the big stage. I believe, 20 goals out of the last 21 scored by the deadly duo of Neymar and Suarez. And it's just incredible to see. Messi came on, it was a luxury to come on at 3-0. And it was a wonderful, wonderful performance. For Real Madrid, though, it was extremely poor. Given the time they had, given the players that didn't go away on international duty, they had a wake-up call, if you like, against Sevilla. And they didn't learn. And in the end, it was a strange team. I thought Danilo's selection at right-back was odd up against Neymar. I felt that was a mismatch from day one. And, he's very good against other teams. But against Neymar, I would have much preferred to see Carvajal. And he had a field day, Neymar.
I want to bring up one name that you'd mentioned that I was surprised was left out as well was Casemiro. And you're right, the team that was announced screamed, this is what you want, almost screamed from Rafa Benitez saying, You guys aren't happy with the defensive style that I like to put out on the pitch? Fine. Here's what you want. Go ahead and see how they do against this team. And unfortunately, I think if Rafa chose that moment to be, let's say, against a Villarreal or a Celta Vigo, maybe it would have fared better. But a Barcelona side that, in my opinion, what I noticed in terms of the play, the one glaring thing that came to my mind was this was defense by offense. In terms of Barcelona. Mm-hmm. Barcelona defended well because they possessed so well, and it allowed them to really just pick apart a defensive midfield that was not there. I wrote an article on our website about this. There was one, I picked 5 points that I was going to talk about for this particular match as a preview for it. And my last point that I was going through as to what I wanted to talk about, I was either going to talk about how Luka Modric was going to play or how he needed to play, or it was going to be about how somebody other than Neymar and Luis Suarez needed to step up, because the goals need to come from somebody else. They can't just come from Neymar and Suarez all day, every day. Like you said, what was it, 20 out of 21 at that point, or now as we stand here today. And I pointed to Andres Iniesta, that they needed a big game from Andres Iniesta to really take control of this match. And lo and behold, he was man of the match. I mean, he was unbelievable. His wonder strike in the second half was a thing of beauty, and he just played magnificent football in the midfield for me.
And do you know what the strange thing was for me? And I completely agree with you. Is building up to this game, I saw one or two polls out there talking about the best midfield player, central midfield player in world football. There were 12 names listed. Andres Iniesta was nowhere to be seen. I thought it was an absolute farce. This guy was injured for a few weeks, and all of a sudden we're counting him out. He's 31 years of age. He is an exceptional footballer. Of incredible ability, and for him to step in the way he did, score the goal he scored, whatever, but that's interesting. That was actually his first goal. I was looking at Soccer Away afterwards. It was his first La Liga goal since March of last year, and that happened to be against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, and they won 4-3. He's a big-time player, Iniesta, and he came up with a massive moment in the game, obviously, to put Barcelona 3-0 up. But he's an exceptional footballer, far greater, in my opinion, on his day than a Luka Modric or a Toni Kroos, maybe different players in certain ways as well. But the way he came in and stepped up, like you said, at a time when no Lionel Messi, you look for other players to step into the limelight, it was exceptional. It was absolutely brilliant. You'd expect nothing less of Andres Iniesta, one of the greatest players that we've been fortunate enough to see over the past couple of decades.
Moving forward for Barcelona, they're now 4 points clear of Atletico Madrid. They're 6 points clear of Real Madrid. Moving forward, they do get Lionel Messi back, which, although he was injured, is kind of a godsend because he gets 6 weeks off, a grueling schedule where the man hasn't had a break since I think he was 9. Now he got 6 weeks off, gets a little rest. Do we see Barca really lock this thing up in the next 3 or 4 weeks and kind of make it a la Bayern Munich or PSG where the race is over?
Yeah, that's the danger. I don't think it happens like that, and I hope it doesn't, because you'd love to see a little bit of drama. Over in France, PSG are 13 points clear, and it's so easy. Bayern Munich, the exact same in the Bundesliga, in that it's a case of all focus on the Champions League. And for Barcelona, it could very well happen. Who knows? I don't have a crystal ball in the sense that we don't know if they will be hit by a few injuries or if they have a downturn in form. The one thing that stands out to me with Barcelona is their chemistry, and that's completely missing from Real Madrid, and you could see that. And I'm saying in the offices of BeIN Sport in the build-up to the game, and some people thought I was crazy. I felt that the best football, since Benzema's been out, the best football that Real Madrid have played has been with Messi and Ronaldo up front. And the relationship between Messi and Ronaldo, there's clear chemistry. And Kay Murray has talked about that, has talked about from knowing those players, that they do get along quite well, but it is like a younger brother, older brother relationship. And I thought, especially when they went and they won 3-1 at Celta Vigo, a team that were right up there alongside them at the summit of La Liga. The form of Messi and Ronaldo in that game was exceptional. And I would have played them, actually. I would have played Casemiro as well, and would have played Messi and Ronaldo up front. And just to start the game, even go as far as the half-time with those two up front, see how they're doing against this Barcelona side, and not get overrun in midfield. But obviously the pressure was there for Rafa Benitez. Gareth Bale is an exceptional footballer, but again, the chemistry, like I mentioned, is just not there between him and Ronaldo, and Benzema wasn't firing as well. So I hope that it's not the case that Barcelona run away with it, just from a journalistic standpoint and an interest standpoint. I want something to be there, like we saw a couple of years ago with Atletico Madrid. And Atletico Madrid, if they click and if they're forwards, or if they find some sort of a balance up front with the right selections, hopefully they're thereabouts as well.
I agree. I'm going to send you up to Mike up in Toronto, because I know the other big happening this weekend was the MLS Conference Finals, and I know we certainly want to talk about that. So, Mike, if you have your questions for Kevin ready, take it away.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for taking my questions tonight. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, of course, Mike. I didn't realize we have several people all over the place on the show. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, actually, we're normally a three-man booth, but one of our guys wasn't able to come on tonight, so it's just you're only getting the two of us.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'll be tuning in every week from now on, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Unfortunately, I'm up here in chilly Toronto, not down in hot Miami, I assume.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem.
I lived in Chicago for 6.5 years, so
so pretty much the same. Yeah, pretty much the same. Before we get right to the playoff games, I wanted to ask you something. Do you think it was a disadvantage for the top two seeds to open the finals on the road? And how do you feel? If so, how do you feel it could be done differently?
Oh, that's a loaded question. You know, over the years we used to do a plastic or a fake turf. And now you go away, though, you've got the heat of Dallas. You look at how cold it was, all the jackets on in Portland last night. Completely different dynamic altogether. Columbus go away, and with the way they're set up, I actually was looking at those lineups last night, and when I say New York was swimming in the same direction, Jesse Marsh, what he's managed to do this season, given the town hall meetings and everything at the start of the year, and the complete unrest with the New York Red Bulls faithful, it's an amazing achievement that he's gone on and won the supporter shield. Now he's got a tough task in keeping Columbus scoreless. And with the way they set up with Higuain in the hole, Kai Kamara is the perfect number 9 for them in the sense that he can hold the ball up as well as anyone else in MLS, maybe alongside Didier Drogba. And then you've got the two sprinters in Finley and Miram on the flanks who are so technically talented as well. They're not just pace. The likes of Dom Oduro, you've seen, just raw pace. These guys, Finley, I think, should be part of the US setup. And I said as much last week because he's technically extremely savvy. He can be acted as an out-and-out winger, or he can be an inverted winger on the far side. And he's provided assists all season. So you'd have to fancy Columbus to go and at least score one. But look, stranger things have happened, and New York can certainly come together as a unit and find something and produce something.
I know, speaking of Finley, that being a Canadian, we were certainly hoping he was going to be part of our setup. Yeah. But given changes to our immigration law, I don't think that's possible at all for him now.
Yeah,
and I guess now that he's had the call up for... Sorry?
Yeah, did he get a call up, did you say?
I think he did. Is he not cup tied now to the United States? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure even if he isn't, that he can't make it given our changes to our immigration laws.
I'm not sure. You know what the funny thing was? I was doing the US game last week, and I said on air that looking at the way DeAndre Yedlin was playing and the shape that Jurgen had set his team up with, I felt that Finley on that right-hand side would have been a perfect spoil with Fabian Johnson on the left, Finley on the right, similar style players. And Finley tweeted me straight away, actually, and he said something along the lines of, "Oh, I'd like that. Thanks for the shout-out." You know, something a bit more funny. And I just thought it was an interesting one because he's sitting at home watching the game, and he'd love to be part of it. So I think, I think at some point, he's only 25, so at some point you'll see Finley as part of the setup.
Yeah, I agree. Something that you were just talking about earlier was about the final four teams in these MLS playoffs are amongst the lowest spenders in the league in terms of player salaries. We have other factors that are kind of convoluted here with transfer fees and all that, but this is a good rough guide. New York and Dallas are the two lowest teams in terms of payroll. Portland 9th and Columbus 12th. And none of the top 18 wage earners are left in the playoffs, with the Cruz Higuain, who earns a little over $1 million a year, the highest paid player remaining in 19th. With every league wanting their big market, big spending teams to do well, because that is what's going to boost the television audience. Is this composition in the Final Four something that the MLS headquarters worries about, do you think?
Yes, it's a great question, because can you imagine now if Portland and Columbus go through? I mean, that is, let's call a spade here. From a marketing standpoint and a league growth standpoint, they're going to celebrate it to a certain extent in that these teams are producing good young players and they've got great coaches. However, from a television market standpoint, it's not what they want. Columbus and Portland, not at all what they want. So I look at it and I love to see bigger name players come in, but I also equally love, if not more, I love to see young coaches like Oscar Pareja have the ability to scout and produce quality young players. And we've seen players like Ulloa come into this team and just be fantastic. In a midfield battle alongside someone like, you could put him alongside a Steven Gerrard and he'll hold his own right now. And that's not saying much for Gerrard. Gerrard's performances in Major League Soccer weren't good enough this year by his standards. But I'm just making the point that I think it's class to see a Barrios and a Castillo and these younger players come through, and Holland's Head be so effective. And what I love to see from all four of these teams is the coaches are so technically savvy. They really are. I mean, Caleb Porter was a wonderful coach in college with Akron. Berhalter was away. He went abroad and was a coach abroad before coming back here. And my understanding is that he'll be the man to take over from Bruce Arena somewhere down the line as well. So I think that it's a great thing to see these coaches, these young coaches, and they are all young. You look at Greg Berhalter, still young. Jesse Marsh had a brief stint in charge of Montreal, but now he's really settled in. Ali Curtis, the sporting director there, gave him the tools to succeed, and he's gone and done it with a low budget, getting the best out of Sasha Fletcher, the best out of Grella. And I just love to see it. I think this is equally as important, if not more important, to see the likes of the younger players coming through and young coaches be so savvy and not just go out and spend like we saw from New York and Toronto and then fall flat in your face.
Yeah, being from Toronto, I know what you're talking about there.
Kevin, sorry, that's a sore subject.
Kevin, thanks so much for being on the show tonight. And can I just ask you quickly about the Chicago Fire, everything that's happened there, and what's the future of this franchise? And then Joe will come back.
Yeah, the future is up to Nelson Rodriguez right now, someone that was brought in to oversee the soccer side of things with Chicago. I hope that Nelson Rodriguez gets this right. This next coaching hire is absolutely huge. I would expect that something will be announced in the next couple of days, maybe before Thursday. But it's really, really like Fort Knox with the Fire right now in terms of information. We've seen so many names. Guillermo Barros-Scalotto. We've seen Pavel Pardo, former Mexican midfielder, linked. We've seen Tab Ramos. Lots of other names linked with the job. Tony Miola, who recently took an NASL job. I even heard Brad Friedel went and did an interview. Lots of names, but I don't know if anyone really knows what's going on and who Nelson Rodriguez is going to hire. But Andrew Hotman, the owner, needs to hand over the reins now to Nelson Rodriguez and whoever the coaching hire is, and also Atul Koster, the COO, and really let them run it. Because I do believe that the funds will be provided to bring in maybe not a player of Jovinko in terms of $7 million, but certainly good money. And there are some very good young players. Matt Polster, to me, is a quality act, and you get the best out of Matt Polster, you're going to be doing well. And then also Harry Shipp is a very good young player. You've got great guys there like Eric Gehrig that'll battle, Mikey Stevens, all Chicago, a lot of Chicago guys, Harry Shipp too. So there's so much potential in Chicago. Now it's about getting it right. And Nelson Rodriguez has a tough job. He hasn't pleased the fans over the past week, letting people go that have been with the club for a long time, like Kitman, which seemed like a strange decision. But if he can turn it around and he can make Chicago successful again, all power to him. But he's got a big job in his hands.
Kevin, thank you. I know Mike Fenton signed off there, and I know we've kept you a couple minutes too late, so I do want to let you go. But thank you again for coming on and joining us and dropping all the knowledge. Give our best to everyone at BeIN Sports.
Absolutely.
And like we always say, we're watching, so just make sure they do a good job. So.
Oh, absolutely, guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you having me on at any time.
Oh, thank you.
Look forward to listening in the future.
All right, you bet. Have a good night.
Cheers.
And that was Kevin Egan from BeIN Sport. What a fantastic guy. You know, everyone talks about when he came on And I didn't want to get into it too much in this way that he was the quote-unquote replacement for Ian Joy, but he's fantastic in his own right, and it was great to have him on and chat with him for a few minutes, and I know we'll have him back soon where we can dive into more of the leagues. I kind of snuck in the Italy, the Serie A stuff there as well. So, Mike, your thoughts on the interview?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and I agree we have to get him back when he has a little more time between dinner and bed, I guess.
Yeah, right. Well, and I also know Rob seriously wanted to talk to him, and I know Rob missed it because he was really dying to do that. So I know we'll have him on again definitely, and we'll get to talk to him. So, Mike, I'm going to hand the reins over to you for a minute. I'm going to reach out to our next guest quickly. I know that he's going to be pressed for time as well, but let's recap the matches that we highlighted for Match of the Week. I guess I'm going to have you do the EPL one, and then I'll go ahead and call up Rob's matches as well. So I don't know if you're prepared for that or not, but
I can do it. But hurry up and get this guest because this EPL game I'm not wanting to talk about very long.
Fantastic! You've got 45 seconds.
Our match of the week was Saturday's Manchester City versus Liverpool game, the late game. It was a very nonchalant affair from Manchester City. They looked disinterested and actually I'd say lazy. I'm not sure they have the right makeup of players on this team to win the title. They just looked really bad. It was 4-1 was the final. Manchester City managed 11 shots, only 3 on target. Liverpool had 14 with 9 on target and thoroughly dismantled Manchester City in the game. Possession it favored Manchester City 58-42, but it was nothing possession basically. Backwards, not a lot of forward. It was Mangala own goal, a real terrible own goal that opened the scoring for Liverpool. Coutinho in the 23rd minute. Firmino in the 32nd minute made it 3-0. Aguero got one back before the half. A pretty nice goal from the returning Sergio Aguero from injury. But Martin Skirtle made sure this one was done and dusted in the 81st minute when he made it 4-1 for Liverpool. So, yeah, that's about it for our game of the week. We had Manchester City winning 2-0, so that was wrong. On the year now, the simulator's 7-6. So a quick look at the top of the table sees surprising Leicester City in first place on 28 points, followed in second by Manchester United on 27 points. Manchester City in third on 26 points. Ahead of Arsenal also on 26 points by goal difference.
Mike, I'm going to cut you off if you don't mind because I'd like to add in our next guest. I believe he is on the line here at the moment. If not, we will get him on. But joining us is André Kfouri from ESPN. André, this is Joe Usello. How are you tonight?
Hi, hello, Joe. Thanks for having me. I hear you.
Thank you, and thank you for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it. I want to start out, I know Rob had spoken to you, and Rob unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, and I know he's really upset that he couldn't be here for the interview. I do want to start out actually with a question for you on the German Bundesliga. I saw a statistic today on Bleacher Report that said that the Bayern Munich has been so dominant this year based on the shots that they've faced on goal, that even if there was no goalie, so no Manuel Neuer standing there to make those saves, they would still be in first place in the Bundesliga, which to me is an amazing thing. Now, I know Manuel Neuer has done more than just stop shots for Bayern Munich, and especially the way he plays goal, He's much more of a sweeper keeper, is what I'd like to say.
Yes.
But is this something that is good for the German Bundesliga in the fact that you have a team that is so entirely dominant that they could do without somebody stopping shots and still lead the league? I mean, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's difficult to answer. But I'll start with this. This Bayern Munich team is so good in so many aspects that you cannot just escape the fact that they are doing it in the Bundesliga is amazing for them. as a country, as a competition, as a championship, as a league, I say. I don't think anybody expects Bayern to be so dominant and to be capable of being first and the top of the table without a goalkeeper. But at the same point, I like to say that Neuer is not a conventional goalkeeper. He is much more than a midfielder that is capable of playing as a goalkeeper. Sure. And this is a fundamental part of Guardiola's ideas. He always said that he would like to have a team with 11 midfielders. And he also would like to have a team that keeps the ball 100% of the time. So if you have those things, you can win a championship without a goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. And this is so overwhelming because it's not common in the way we see this game and in the way those great teams of the past played. But this is Guardiola's football, and I think it's amazing. So it just cannot be a bad thing for Bundesliga.
Right. And you know, and to that point, you know, you bring up Pep Guardiola, and it allows me to transition to a different league, which is kind of nice. We just had Kevin Egan on from BeIN Sport, and I had mentioned to him that in this weekend's El Clasico between Barca and Real Madrid, you saw Barcelona, in my opinion, play defense by offense, meaning that they really had good possession. They also played, which a lot of people on Twitter pointed out after the game, they played with a calmness that, for me, I haven't seen since Pep Guardiola's Bayern Munich. I'm sorry, Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, where I know it's tiki-taka and the passing, you know, death by a million passes, but it was such a controlled environment that they never seemed like they were under pressure. Is this Barca side, you know, to transition before we get into El Clasico, is this Barca side the team that can possibly beat this incredibly dominant Bayern Munich team in the Champions League?
I agree with you completely about the composure and the dominance in the psychological aspect that Barcelona showed against Real Madrid. Mm-hmm. What I think about them being able to beat Bayern is this. I have no question that Bayern Munich is the best team in the world right now in terms of what they are capable. But they need to stay healthy. They need to get to the end of the season when everything is decided as healthy as they are right now. And this is something where Guardiola could not achieve, could not do things as he would like to in the past 2 seasons. If they are not healthy right as they are right now, in the end of the European season, I see Barcelona totally capable of beating them as soon as Messi will be right, and we have every indication that he will be because he's been resting for the last 6 or 7 weeks. Right. So this is the key for me. But if they get to the end of the European season, both on their best forms, I will go with Bayern.
Okay. You know, and it's funny you bring up the rest that Lionel Messi got in regards to this injury that he suffered, because he really, like I commented to Kevin as well earlier, really hadn't had a break. You know, played in the Copa America during the summer. Before that, he played right up to the Champions League final where Barca won it over Juventus. Going in through the season before that, you go all the way back to 2014 where he plays in the final of the World Cup. Messi really hasn't had a break, and now, yes, he has a break because of injury, but he still gets 6 to 8 weeks of rest before you really have to see him play back on the pitch.
Yes, in the end, thinking about the most important part of the season, those weeks might be, like you say, a blessing in disguise. Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to focus on the other side of the pitch for El Clasico, and that was the performance of Real Madrid. We talked about how Rafa Benitez put out an offensive lineup really at the I guess the urging of both the fans and Florentino Perez. And we saw the white handkerchiefs come out at halftime, and they came out again at the end of the match. And during the commentary during the match, most of the people that were talking were saying that those handkerchiefs were being waved at Rafa Benitez. But as we come through the next day or so that we've been able to talk and analyze the game and the fans, it seems like they were aimed more at Florentino Perez than Rafa Benitez. So I'd like your thoughts on what the Madridistas want in this regard.
Yes, I agree with you. I have the same impression because we are all used to interpret these white flags waving as a way of people saying get rid of the coach. But all the reports on Sunday and today they indicate that the fans were angry at the president.
Right.
So I think finally the fans understand that Real Madrid is an entertaining company that happens to have a football team. And their business model is very good. They are outstanding at marketing and selling shirts and everything and traveling the world showing their club. But in terms of having an idea of football and having a philosophy that would allow them to win both in Spain or in Europe, they need to be different. And the responsible for this business model that happens to have a football team is Florentino Perez. So I think the public is absolutely right about it.
Do you see Florentino Perez stepping down or moving away, or do you see this just continuing as is because he's Real Madrid?
I don't see him stepping down. I can see he's going to wait and give support to Rafa Benitez to see what happens. And if it doesn't work, he's going to change to Zinedine Zidane. And if Zidane is not successful, he's gonna go to the next one and maybe bring back Mourinho, which is something that he always wanted to do.
And Mourinho, who knows the way things are going? Although they did win this week, but Mourinho's certainly on thin ice at Chelsea, so he may be looking for employment. Do you think a second coming of Mourinho there would be a good fit, or do you think that would be, just a stopgap until somebody else decided to come along, even maybe Ancelotti comes back?
Personally, I don't think Mourinho's style of football, and I think it's a shame. It's a waste of his potential as a coach. I think he has to come to the bright side, or the bright side of the force, making a parallel to Star Wars. But let me say that I see him coming back. But as he stated before, a lot of players must be out of the door for him to come back, and many of them are the stars of the team right now. So this is complicated, but I definitely see him coming back to Real Madrid.
Very, very, very interesting. And like I said, we had Kevin on before. We were talking about Italy with Maurizio Sarri, possibly moving on from Napoli if things worked out right, because he's done so well. It's amazing how we're talking 6 or 7 steps ahead for coaching, but you could see these things happen as if certain dominoes fell. So I want to send you up to my co-host Mike in Toronto. I know Mike has quite a few questions for you, especially regarding Manchester City. So Mike, if you're ready, go ahead and take it away.
Hi, Andre. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hi, Mike. Thank you.
Like Joe said, I'm going to move over to the Premier League for a second. But before I get to my Man City questions, I wanted to ask you about Claudio Ranieri. There was some questions when he was appointed manager at Leicester City that he might not have been the right man for the job. But now at the 1/3 mark of the season, they are in first place. And while they may not maintain such a position at season's end, there are some great stories here taking place, such as Mahrez and Vardy. How remarkable is this not only for Leicester, but for the league as a whole, do you think?
For the league, this is great. It doesn't matter if they stay on the top for long or not, if they fight for the title or not. The single fact that they are playing so well and they are leading the league right now against giant teams compared to them is great. And speaking about Ranieri, this is a guy that always proved that he's capable. He may not have had the best situation in his career before. And from Brazil, watching the games, what I can feel, what I sense, is that he found this situation at Leicester in terms of pressure and in terms of working with the right players. So he's doing an outstanding job. There's no question about it. I personally don't think that Leicester is going to fight for the crown, but what they are doing right now is remarkable.
Yeah, I agree. They probably won't be at the top of the table at the end of the year, but anything above 10's got to be good.
Yes. Anything above the middle of the table is absolutely fantastic. They just cannot get into this thing that, we are leading the table and we are capable of winning the title. Let's go like Simeone, right? Let's go game after game, match after match, and see what happens and keep playing well. That's the only way. You have to try your best to play well every day, because that's the only thing that gives you the chance to win every day.
Right. Switching over to my team, and one that's really hurt me this weekend, is Manchester City. They were completely dismantled by Liverpool. Do you feel this result was down to a complete turnaround in philosophy and playing style under Klopp, or was this just a case of City's poor performance at home once again?
I will go back to the press conference of Pellegrini, and as he said, he was more than angry. So I think that happens in football sometimes. You have a team that's playing so well and things are getting so right for them at that particular moment, and the opposite is going on with the opposition. I certainly think that Klopp is starting to have his hand on his team. They needed a game like this to show everybody that things are starting to work well under new management. But at the same time, City was like unrecognizable. I think, in my opinion, City is the most talented team in England, and they played like horribly. I don't expect them to play once again as bad as they did against Liverpool. And they chose the exact worst game to play like that, because Liverpool is upwards right now, and this is fantastic to see also.
Yeah, City was certainly nonchalant. Actually, they even looked lazy out there at a few points to me, like the players just weren't committed.
Yeah, I agree. This is difficult to say from a distance, because people always look for those charismatic displays of hunger, and this is the game of our lives and we're going to fight to the end. I always say that you don't say you want that from teams that play well almost every time. So the fact that they played so bad leads us to those types of analysis, like they didn't want to win, or something is going on privately in the dressing room. I don't buy every time that I don't see necessarily that something very wrong needs to happen for a team to play so badly. But that may be true. I don't know.
Yeah, they really definitely missing David Silva and Vincent Kompany.
No doubt, especially Silva.
Yeah, I agree.
Silva is like Silva is Silva is an artist. The guy is a magician. So whenever he's not playing, that's gotta hurt them.
Exactly. One of the subs that City made that they wouldn't have made in previous years was for Yaya Toure. For me, he is now able only to show brief flashes of brilliance. He seems to be really showing his age, especially this season. Do you feel that City should be starting to phase him out of the starting 11, and should they be all in to get a player such as Paul Pogba? this summer to replace him?
Yeah, I think I agree 100%. Pogba would be like a glove to play in Touré's position. And about Touré, I love him as a player. The guy is a fantastic footballer. But let's face it, he has some flaws defensively that you have to assess. So, in terms of system and getting this guy to play or not, you have to know exactly what you want from him. And if he's showing his age, which I think he is, that becomes a real problem. And yes, Pogba is perfect for them.
I agree. Another of the contenders that slipped up at the weekend was Arsenal. Do you think they have the quality or the depth to win the league, or do they need to bring him some help in the upcoming window, especially now that Coquelin is out for a couple of months, and there's a couple of other major injuries they have at the moment. Do you think they need to do something at the window?
I think they are going to be pressured to do something. That's their story, right? They always seem to have the necessary talent to win and to fight for the title. And whenever they show some weaknesses or signs that this is not going to happen, the whole thing, Arsene needs to open his wallet, comes back. So I think they're gonna be pressured to do something. But this past weekend, the game they did not win was 100% their fault. And I'm not even talking about the penalty that they missed. It's so much more than that. The penalty, the missed penalty is too obvious to point as to blame for the defeat. So they had the game at their hands, and they threw it off.
That penalty was quite the miss, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's lit. The same thing happened to Beckham at the Euro. I don't remember the year right now, but it's exactly the same.
What made me really laugh was when, I'm not sure which West Brom player it was now, came over to help him up, and he kept shaking him, like, I don't want your help.
Yes, because he was upset, because this was the guy that was trying to get in his head before he took the penalty.
Exactly.
This was the same guy. He was very angry at himself and at the guy, obviously.
Right. I have one more question for you. Thanks a lot again for taking my questions tonight. A team that certainly needed a win at this weekend was Chelsea, and they got that victory with a 1-0 win over Norwich. Well, this wasn't overly impressive. A win is a win. Is this a result they can build off of, given that they have Spurs away this weekend and at home versus Bournemouth the following weekend? Sandwiched in between is their Champions League match against Maccabi.
In terms of performance, I don't think they changed so much from the days that they were losing. But, of course, as you said, a win is a win, and at this moment, that's all they need. One thing I find interesting is the difference of performance Chelsea is showing when they play in the Premier League in comparison when they play in the Champions League. They have much more intensity when they're playing for the UCL, and this for me is a sign that all the rumors about dressing room problems and the relationship with Mourinho, there's some truth to that, to this. So let's see what they do. I think they have obviously a very, very difficult match against Tottenham, and let's see what they do at the UCL this week. But this difference in performance and in the language that we can read about the players on the pitch, this is worrying to me.
So you're still worried for Chelsea at this point?
Yes, I'm worried, and I don't see Mourinho staying until the end of the season if they keep losing in the Premier League. That's the point I make. I don't see them trying to save their coaches, their managers' job. And they are saying that, it's all our fault, it's not his fault. But they are not acting like that, especially in the Premier League games.
So let me just give you a scenario then. If they lose badly to the Spurs, say they lose to Maccabi first on the Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm not sure which day it is, and then they lose badly to the Spurs on the weekend, is Jose Mourinho still the manager at home versus Bournemouth the following weekend?
It's difficult to say because we don't know what Abramovich is thinking. But let's add some information to this scenario you proposed. Okay. I think they are going to lose to Tottenham. And it's possible they don't win against Maccabi. So things may be getting hot again if that happens.
Interesting. André, again, thanks a lot for taking my questions today. It was a real pleasure having you on the show. I hope we can get you back again soon. And here's Joe.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Mike, again, André, I do have, if you have a few more minutes, I do have a couple more questions.
Okay, I'm here.
Oh, fantastic. And I've got to say, I'm impressed with the ability for you to jump from league to league to league. You must watch way more football than I do, and I watch quite a bit, my wife says, so it's been amazing. With that in mind, we haven't talked about France, and we haven't talked about Italy yet, and we haven't talked about South America. So I do want to close with three more questions.
Okay.
The first one is, let's go to Italy. We saw Juventus play AC Milan this weekend, and I first of all, as a Juventino, I would like the two of you to stay away from Paul Pogba, please. But now that I've said that, we saw a wonderful moment at the end of the match between Gigi Buffon and Gigi Donnarumma
yes.
with the exchange of jerseys. And as a 16-year-old, it's got to be amazing to play football against a man who started in the Serie A 4 years before he was born, and is certainly considered an idol, if not a god, in Italian football with the 2006 World Cup in his pocket. But me personally, as much as I've enjoyed watching Donnarumma so far in the league and in the season, and I think he's a wonderful, wonderful talent, I can't help but think that Italy has another goaltender ahead of him in Mattia Perin at Bologna. At Genoa.
Yes.
And Perin is not an old guy either. He's 23, so he's a wonderful keeper. So I'd like your opinion on both Perin and Donnarumma, and which one would you rate higher currently to maybe take that place for Gigi Buffon when he decides to retire?
It's very difficult to analyze Donnarumma because, as we all know, the guy is an adolescent. Mm-hmm. He's 16. He has to be special, and he has to be different from everybody else at his age to get the opportunity that he's getting in terms of where he's getting it.
Right.
So I don't care if Italian football is not what it once was, and I don't care that Milan is not at the top of European football anymore for a long time. The guy has to be something very different to be in the spot he is right now. And talking about Buffon, we have to always have the perspective of what Buffon means to Italian football. The guy is a god. It's not like people treat him like that. He is a football god in that country. And we are talking about a country that likes football more than the Brazilian people. It's a bold statement, but it's true. We have more people in Brazil that doesn't care about football than people who loves football. The thing is, the country is so big, and there are so many people here that we give the impression that we are the country, as they say, the country of football, but this is a wrong statement. There are a lot of countries where people love football much more than Brazil, and Italy is one of them. So Buffon is a living god, and that moment with them both was very touching for everybody who understands what football means in Italy and what Buffon means for them. But I like Perin also, and I think in terms of age, his place is ahead of Donnarumma. Mm-hmm. But we have to be careful because those phantoms, it doesn't matter if they are a goalkeeper or a midfielder or like an attacking player. When they surge like that, you have to close your eyes and like just wait. We saw that with Neymar, bringing the conversation back to Brazilian football. Mm-hmm. Neymar, when he was 12, everybody in Brazil knew that if his mind is right and if his body holds, this guy is going to be a superstar. Mm-hmm. And that's what he is right now, and he's not very far from 12. So we have to respect what this 16-year-old goalkeeper is doing because it's not easy. If it was easy, we would have more than people like him.
Sure, of course. Before I get over to Neymar and come across to South America, I do want to ask you a quick French question. In Ligue 1, we've seen, really another dominant side. We talked about Bayern Munich earlier, who haven't lost a match in the Bundesliga yet this season. In Ligue 1, we have PSG, who hasn't lost a match. So, again, it's unfortunate to see a team that totally runs away with a particular league. And my question is not PSG based because we still have European positions to play for in France. It's a very, very tight race. Just looking at it, there are 3 points separating 7 teams. So there is a very, very tight race going on in France. It's just not for the championship itself. The two teams that I'm interested in, and even one more so than the other, are Caen and Angers. Angers obviously promoted this year from Ligue 2, currently sitting 5th, and they're only 2 points behind Lyon and Caen. Caen, you have to remember, was promoted last year. So can either of these two teams last long enough in the season to possibly pick off one of these European positions and do something that I think many would think of unthinkable, just like Leicester's doing right now in the EPL?
No, I don't think so. No. I have to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. France is the one European league that I follow like from a distance.
Okay.
And I could go on and talk to you about PSG and their project and what they are doing, mm-hmm. and why they are so much better than everybody else. But as of the other teams, I'm not so well informed. But to answer your question, I don't think they're going to be able to hold at the top.
Okay, and I kind of hold the same thing. I would say then I would follow them. I follow them a little bit closer than you, but with so many leagues and so many players and so many teams and so many stories, it is certainly tough to stay on top of every single team in every single league. So yes. I try to do the best I can, but sometimes you just can't. So
yes, me too. Yeah.
So I want to come across to South America for my last couple of questions. We talked about Neymar earlier. Just a few moments ago, and many, like you'd said, I believe that Neymar was going to be the next great Brazilian footballer, and there's no reason not to think that, and he's still actually quite young. Does he have to win a World Cup to put the official stamp on that?
Oh, this is a very good question because this is the single point that separates the thinking about. Let me start again. Mm-hmm. This is the single aspect that needs to be separated from the discussion about what a player Neymar is, and that is true again about Messi too. Mm-hmm. The need to win a World Cup, to say that a player is one of the best ever, is like it's almost craziness. Mm-hmm. Because as we can see, I'm going to bring Messi to the conversation again.
Sure.
He is a totally different player in Barcelona and in the Argentinian national team.
I agree.
The same thing, or like it's not the same situation, but it's very similar. Happens to Neymar whenever he's playing for his teams and when he plays for Brazil. And Neymar is like a scoring machine for the Brazilian national team. He's going to be the top scorer for Brazil in a very short period of time. But to say that he needs to win a World Cup for Brazil to be considered one of the best as all the other great Brazilian players, it's just unfair. Because the situation right now is that there are people in Brazil saying that the generation of players that are working with Dunga in the national team is weak, is not as special as the generations before. And there is truth to this in one extent. Brazil does not have phenomenal players in the quantity as some generations before. But to call this generation that we have right now weak or not special, it's craziness too, because if you see the Brazilian team playing, they are not playing well right now, but all the players, almost all of them, are important players for their teams in some of the best leagues in Europe. They are starting players. They are players that play very well domestically. So why they are not playing so well for the Brazilian team? Because everything is different. The manager is different. The system is different. Sometimes they play in another position. So you cannot compare. What Neymar is doing right now, especially since Messi was injured, is outstanding. The guy is just uncontrollable right now. He is one of the best players in this planet, without a doubt. So let's say that he does not play one more match for the Brazilian team. It doesn't matter. The guy is one of the best. And of course, if he keeps winning and if he keeps playing at the level he's playing right now. So I don't care what Neymar is doing for the Brazilian national team, if he's going to win a World Cup or if he's not playing anymore. The guy is just unbelievable right now, and he's too young to think about what he can do.
Sure, I agree. And like you said, especially with the Messi injury at Barcelona, he is really when I was doing my analysis, leading up to El Clasico, he is really the guy, more so than Suarez, that has really put the team on his back and carried them. They did lose that one match to Sevilla in this stretch without Messi, but after that, they've just completely dominated everybody they've played. And even this weekend in El Clasico, because we only got Messi for about 20, 25 minutes. More of the same. It was a lot of Neymar. It was a lot of creativeness. Like I had said earlier, that certainly André Iniesta was the man of the match in El Clasico, but Neymar was something special this week. And I agree. It's so hard to win a World Cup, and I think Brazil in general was spoiled by the likes of Pelé. Where he won, I believe it's 3, if I remember correctly. He won 3 World Cups, and then yes. I think the great one. I think Romario won 1, and I'm really going back on my memory as best I can. I think Romario won 1, and I think Ronaldo won 1 in 2002. That was Ronaldo. That was Ronaldo's World Cup. Yes. It is so hard to talk of the people like Zico and some of the other great Brazilians who did not win a World Cup. But are still, if you go back and look at the teams, look at the world's players, hard not to consider some of these players as the greatest in the world of all time. So I agree with you, and I think even with Messi, although I think with Messi, I think he missed his opportunity a little bit, but I think with Argentina, Messi's the players that play for Argentina don't know how to support Messi like the players at Barcelona know how to support Messi. And I also even look back to the 86 World Cup with Diego Maradona. The players that he had on his team, Maradona put that team on his back and he carried them to the World Cup. But the players that played with him on that team knew how to support Diego Maradona, and he was able to do that because he had the right supporting cast, where I don't think the Argentinian players know how to support Lionel Messi, to allow Messi to do that. Unfortunately, am I way off there, or do you think there's something?
No. I agree. I agree with you completely, and that's true also to when we speak about the Argentinian coaches. So we didn't see one guy that was able to come up with a system that could put Messi in the same situation as he enjoys in Barcelona. Let's go back to the great Barcelona team of Pep Guardiola, especially the one who won the Champions League at Wembley in 2011 against Manchester United. Right. I think we all agree that this was the pinnacle, right?
I agree.
This was the best of the best. When you read Xavi's interviews, the man is saying, "This is the best team I ever played." So let's just forget about all the other ones right now. So speaking about that team, people have a tendency to say that that team played for Messi, and this is not true. That team played for Xavi to play for Messi. So this is important to understand, because this was not Messi's team. This was Xavi's team. Xavi controlled everything. Xavi said, or like the way he played, he was commanding everything. And their objective, their main focus was, let's put Messi in a situation where he can make the difference. So in such a way that you can say that the task that was asked for that Messi had to do was easier than the task for Xavi. So Messi is such an outstanding player. The guy is like, he's so magnificent that he was able to make the difference for that team and to do everything he did and to make the team what it was. So I'm talking about system. So when you go to the Argentina national team, you don't have a system for that. For a long period of times, the system for Argentina was give the ball to Messi. And this is not only unfair, but it's also wrong, because in football terms, it's not the best thing to do. Brazil used to play, give the ball to Neymar and see what happens. What happened? Brazil got out of the Copa America the way they did. So you have to come up with a system that puts those players in the situation they need to beat the difference every time they play. So that's what Guardiola did to Messi. That's what Luis Enrique is doing with Messi, Neymar, and Suarez. I think they are making a very nice transition backwards to the type of football Barcelona played under Pep Guardiola. Last year, they were a monster because they could keep the ball for as long as they wanted, but they were very dangerous with direct football because they were capable of doing that. So they were not predictable. On Saturday against Real Madrid, you almost saw the old Pep Guardiola team playing. I mean, the first goal, 37 passes, 1 minute 45 seconds, with all 10 players touching the ball, sometimes many times. So this is Guardiola football, this is Cruyff football, and this is the best football that Barcelona can play, because that's what they do. If they can be as dangerous playing directly as they were last year, they're going to be winning everything again, obviously.
Yeah, and you know, it's something to watch. To see a team be able to move the ball around like that, it's undefensible. When you have that many touches among that many players in that amount of time, it is undefensible. And it goes back to how calm they looked in the match this weekend, where there was really, even though there was pressure, there was no pressure because they were so confident with the football. I agree. I want to keep the focus back on Argentina quickly, and I want to ask you about Tata Martino and the news that came out of Chile during the week that the head of the Chilean football, and his name escapes me right now, has stepped down and really to become an informant for the United States from all accounts. But he was closely tied to Jorge Sampaoli and his stay at Chile. Now with him gone, a lot of people are speculating that Sampaoli may be ready to leave the Chilean national team. and possibly go over to Argentina and take over there. Do you see that ever happening, or do you think Sampaoli is going to stay at Chile? Or if he does leave, would he go somewhere other than Argentina? Maybe even, wishful thinking on my side, come over to the United States.
Oh, we have to respect the relationship between Sampaoli and Mr. Jadot, which is the president that had to step down. They have a personal relationship and a professional relationship, which is very important, and that's why all the news coming out from Chile were in this line, talking about the aspect which is very important, that Sampaoli, after winning the Copa America, may be leaving his post because of that situation. And when you think about it, it's like an automatic afterthought that being an Argentinian coach, he might make himself available to coach Argentina or to coach another club. I think the guy is a very good coach. His team, Chile, plays very well. In collective terms, I don't think they are not very well positioned right now as they were in the first rounds of the South American tournament for the World Cup, but they are very much capable of being the best collective team in South America. Sure. That was pretty obvious, like 3 or 4 matches ago. Right. Especially when they beat Brazil. So the difference between collective football in that game was unbelievable.
I agree.
So yes, I think Martino he is very relieved right now because Argentina won Argentina won the last match as a visitor, and that was a very important result, and it was a result that gave Martino a little bit of fresh air to keep working and try to solve his problems. But Argentina is facing a situation very much like Brazil. Whenever they don't win, all the fingers point to the coach, because you cannot blame the players. It's a matter of systems in both cases.
Now, I want to give you one more question on South America, and then and thank you again for joining us and giving us so much time. This is a question that I asked Tim Vickery last week on the show, and it was at least I thought it was an interesting one. We talked about the Big 5 teams in South America. Now, I mean, obviously there's only 10, but the Big 5 teams would be Colombia, Chile, Uruguay, Brazil, and Argentina. Certainly the top 5 teams, you put them anywhere in the world, and they're probably going to qualify for a World Cup. But we're all extremely impressed with the job that Ecuador has done so far. They've won their first 4 matches. They're at top of the table for World Cup qualifying. And by Tim Vickery's account, felt that they were in a position where they were going to qualify for the World Cup this time around. They're well on their way to that path. So my question to Tim, and I want to pose the question to you, is if we assume that Ecuador will qualify for the 2018 World Cup in Russia, of the 5 teams that I named, Colombia, Chile, Uruguay, Brazil, and Argentina, which one is going to stay home?
This is very interesting and very difficult, right? Because as we see the positions by the end of the year, things slowly got back to what we considered the normal situation, right?
Right.
You just cannot see Argentina or Brazil outside the qualification zone. But it was like that, right?
Colombia too, I believe. I think all 3, Colombia, Brazil, and Argentina at one point were not in the qualification zone.
Yes. Yeah. So this is not expected. I agree with Tim. I see Ecuador qualifying, and the things in South American football are very unique. When teams go back to play the qualifying tournament, and Ecuador and other teams see themselves in a situation where they have to maintain, they have to sustain their level of football, things are going to be different. So I think in the end, Ecuador is going to qualify because they are so good. They are too talented, and they are playing so well. They found the right mix. And I think Colombia is in danger.
Okay, yeah, and a lot of people, I think, if I remember right, Colombia was also the team that that Tim pointed out to that was not playing quite as well. And it's amazing, with all the talent that they have on that team, that that they would miss the World Cup. But we saw something similar in the last World Cup in a great player missing the World Cup in Zlatan Ibrahimovic, where Sweden didn't qualify. If you remember that dramatic playoff between Portugal and Sweden, where we looked at that matchup and said, either Cristiano Ronaldo or Zlatan Ibrahimovic is going to miss the World Cup, and it's almost a crime to not be able to see a player of that caliber on that stage. And I think you might be looking at the potential of a Jackson Martinez or James Rodriguez, who are both wonderful players, missing the World Cup as well. Obviously we're very premature. We're only 4 matches into an 18 match, but it's amazing to see, and this kind of thing now where we have 2.5 months to think about it, because we don't see them again until March. We really have 3 months to think about it. I'm sure is going to be in the minds of the journalists in South America for at least the next 3 months, until at least they can hit the pitch and see what they can do to rectify it.
And yeah, I agree with you, and I'm sure that there will be a fight for those places. I think Colombia will be the team to not be able to play in the next World Cup, but of course we cannot foresee anything. This is just my sensation, based on my based on what I think is going to happen when they start play again. Both Argentina and Brazil they are going to establish themselves, maybe not playing as well as they are capable of doing, but in terms of results, things are going to be like more normal, if you understand me. And I still think Ecuador is going to sustain this level of football. I do not think they're going to be first when this is over, but the team I see in danger to not qualifying is Colombia's, in spite of James Rodriguez and Martinez and the other very good players they have.
Sure. André, I want to thank you for all the time you've given us tonight. We've really enjoyed it, and certainly are amazed at the amount of football knowledge you have, and we really appreciate it, and we'd love to have you back very soon.
Thank you very much once again for having me. I'm here in São Paulo. You just contact me whenever you need me on the show, and it's going to be a pleasure for me every time you ask me. I'm here for you guys. Don't worry about it.
Wonderful. Thank you again. Have a good night.
Thanks a lot, André.
Good night. Thank you. Good night to you too.
And that was André Kfouri. A fantastic interview, and I seem to have lost Mike there at the same time. So I'm going to get him back quickly. And I know
Joe, did you hang up on me?
I did for some reason. I don't know why that happened, but that's okay. We've got you back, and we're good to go. So André was absolutely amazing. It amazes me when we get guests like that who have that amount and that breadth of knowledge that you can bounce around league to league to league to league, and it just doesn't matter. He knows the information, and sure, as an Italian fanboy, of course, to hear him talk about that was absolutely fantastic as well. So I enjoyed it, and I, as much as, and of course we all like Christian Hennig, but that he could be one of my favorite all-time guests to have on the show. And we've had some amazing ones for sure. So, Mike, your reaction to some of the stuff he had to say?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed him too, but he was pushing all the right buttons for you for sure.
Yeah, and it was just kind of funny, that while you were interviewing him, I'm like, geez, we've talked about every league. We didn't talk about Italy. We didn't talk about France, and we haven't even gotten to South America, which is really his wheelhouse. And and to be able to to talk about all of it was fantastic. So
yeah, no, I really enjoyed the conversation too.
Yeah, so I do want to talk quickly. We'll definitely get into the scores and highlights from the week because we haven't had a chance to do that yet. I know we did the EPL. I am going to go over to,
and we've pretty much done MLS now too with Kevin.
Well, yeah, we did. But I want to ask.
I'll just give the scores in the next games.
Yep.
We went through it.
No, that's cool. But I do want to ask you a question before we leave the MLS topic real
All
quick. Right. Obviously, New York down 2 goals coming home. Dallas down 2 goals coming home. Which team, and I know the away goal means quite a bit in this regard, but which team, in your opinion, is best capable of reversing this and actually qualifying for the final?
I was going to ask Kevin that question, but we ran out of time. Given the scores, yeah. I don't like either. I know Kevin thinks that they can, but I don't like either of them coming back.
So do you think...
I think New York really needed to score a goal.
Yeah,
So given that, I'm going to say Dallas has the best chance, but I don't think they're going to.
It's tough to say. I really goal a 2 underdog final between Portland and Columbus, don't you think? I mean, we are really on that path. I feel like for the MLS Cup final.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think. Actually, I think both the teams that lost are probably going to win on Sunday, but not by enough.
Yeah, I agree. So I think let's do this. Just to leave that, like you said, we've got the second legs coming up this weekend. Mike, I think I have the times wrong on our plan, so we'll definitely have to go over that real quick.
Oh, have they changed? Because that was what they were last weekend.
Yeah, they flip-flopped them. So
that's fine then.
Yeah,
so you're saying that the Portland game's at 5 and the Columbus game's at 7:30?
I believe that is the case. So,
or actually, I guess in this case it's Dallas and New York now.
Yeah,
I'll quickly make sure of that. So
right.
You want to give our prediction?
Yeah. Well, I want to give out the scores from the past week, from the matches of the week. First of all, let's do Spain.
Yeah. So you want to finish up MLS here? I'll just give the scores and we'll give our predictions, and then we'll move to the other leagues.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
Okay, so we had, I got to find them first. Sorry, Joe. MLS, where did we go here? Okay, so we had Columbus and New York played on Sunday at 5, and Joe, you predicted a 1-1 draw. Mm-hmm. Rob predicted Columbus 1-0, and I predicted Columbus 2-1. So I guess me and Rob got the right results, even though it was 2-0 was the final for Columbus. In the Western Conference game at 7:30, the final score was 3-1 Dallas, like Joe just mentioned, a late goal, all-important late goal from Nat Borchers, made it 3-1. Joe, you had Dallas winning this one 2-1.
I did.
Rob had Portland winning 2-1, and I had Portland winning 1-0, so... In terms of results, me and Rob both went 2-0, and Joe, you went 0-2, mate.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. But I think I did well in Italy.
Okay, so let's find that out in just a second. Let's get our predictions for this week's games then for MLS, and then we're done with the MLS. Okay. We got New York Red Bulls versus Columbus Crew. I'm just getting the time. You are right, Joe. You do have them backwards. So it's FC Dallas and Portland is the first game at 5 p.m. Eastern time. What do you think, Joe?
We're going to go with Dallas-Portland. I think we're going to end up in penalties. So I think we're going to go Dallas 3-1 in the match, and I think I'm going to take Portland to move on.
Wow. So you're saying Dallas can come all the way back and then lose in penalties?
Yeah. I do.
Okay. I'm actually taking Portland to win 2-1, and so that wouldn't be enough right there, right?
That's correct. That would give them the 5-2 aggregate win, and that would certainly seal the deal there. So how about the New York Columbus one?
Okay, so we're going back to New York, Columbus up 2-0. I'm going to take New York in this one. Same score, 2-1.
2-1. I just want to add real quick. It looks like Rob gives me a 3-0 Dallas victory, by the way. So
whoa.
Yep. So
Rob's got them winning it right there.
He's got it winning them outright. And I'm sorry, your score for the Red Bull?
Red Bull 2-1.
2-1. So the Red Bull are out.
So Rob has Dallas winning 3-0, right?
Rob has Dallas winning 3-0.
Yeah, I've got the Red Bull going on. I've got both the teams that are going away in front, leaving in front.
Yeah. Now Rob has the New York Red Bull winning 2-0 in the match, and then New York actually wins on penalty kicks on that one. So
Homer.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm going to take a Red Bull victory in the match, but they're not going to advance. I'm going to take a 2-1 victory for the Red Bull. So we're going to see Columbus move on in the final, I think, unfortunately.
So you're with me. Just different ways of getting
Just
there.
a different path, yeah. But
all right.
All right, so let's so that'll cover it for MLS for us. Rob will actually be here in about 5 minutes. I'm going to actually start out by going to Ligue 1 and the coverage there quickly. In the match of the week for Ligue 1, we had, I'm just calling up my notes here quickly, we had Caen Angers. I predicted a 1-1 draw between the two teams. And again, this is a match of two of the top teams in France. And we saw a 0-0 draw with a red card to Caen, so really nothing to report there. Currently, like we had said earlier, PSG leading the way. 38 points. Lyon and Caen tied for 25. Nice is on 24. Angers and Monaco on 23. Saint Etienne on 22. Rennes on 21. Who actually played a fantastic match this weekend as well, and had a penalty kick saved against Bordeaux to draw Bordeaux 2-2. Fantastic finish to that match if you can find it. Currently in the relegation zone in France, Bastia on 14 points. Ahead on goal differential, or behind on goal differential to Lille, and then we have Toulouse and Troyes bringing up the bottom of the table. So, and again, match of the week will be up in a few minutes. Let's, we're going to skip the top scorers this week. I'm going to do the Serie A just in case. I'm going to give Rob a few more minutes to get here. Actually, it looks like Rob might actually be here already. So, if we'll just take a minute and see if we can add him in. Of course, Skype is loud, and that does happen. But we'll see if we can get Rob on the phone here. In the meantime, I don't think Rob is actually there quite yet, so we'll effort him in a minute. So we'll go to the Serie A, and the Serie A match of the week was the Juventus AC Milan match. I had predicted a 2-1 victory for Juventus over AC Milan, and I got this one sort of right. I had the right winner, wrong score, 1-0 on a Paulo Dybala goal in this one, propelling Juventus to just outside the European positions. And Mike, I don't know if you're still there or not. Mike, are you still with me? Oh, I think we might have disconnected Mike as well. So I'm going to effort both of them back on in the moment. But we currently have Inter leading the way on 30 points. Napoli on 28, tied with Fiorentina. Roma on 27 points. Sassuolo on 22. And then Juventus, just mentioned, on 21 points, just outside the European positions. Frosinone, Verona, and that is Hellas Verona, and Carpi all bringing up the bottom of the table, currently in the relegation zone, and that is the Serie A. Rob, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. I'm just going to throw it over to you quickly. If you want to prep the match of the week for La Liga and Bundesliga and the tables. We're just doing leagues and tables, and then we are going to go right into the week ahead, and we do have a trivia question that we're going to go over. So if you are somewhat ready.
Okay.
All right.
In La Liga, we had the El Clasico match on Saturday between Real Madrid-Barcelona. The match that we predicted was, or at least I predicted, was a 2-1 victory for Barcelona. It ended up 4-0 for Barcelona. Goals from Suarez, Neymar. Just give me 1 second. I forgot the last person. Yeah. The top goal scorers. But yeah, it's quite a shock, don't you think?
I don't think we expected. I don't think we expected anything like that. We expected a much closer match. We expected goals, and I think we expected 3 or 4 goals, or 4 or 5. I would have expected a 3-2 match, 3-1 either way. I would not have expected a 4-0 destruction that we've covered with the guests tonight.
Yep, a brace from Luis Suarez, a goal from Neymar, and a goal from Andres Iniesta. When I saw the highlights of the match after Andres scored that beautiful goal, the Santiago Bernabeu just started clapping.
Yeah, it was
out of respect.
It was a thing of beauty, and many of the players and fans in Spain respect Andrés Iniesta as a player. That's been said a million times. So, how about the tables?
Yep, at the table. With this win, Barcelona are now
4 points,
6 points clear of Real Madrid in first with 30 points. In second, Atletico Madrid with 26 points. In fourth, Celta Vigo with 21. In fifth, Villarreal with 21. And Eibar, still Eibar in that European position, in sixth with 20 points. Rounding up the bottom half of the table, we have Levante, Granada, and Malaga on 10 and 9 points, respectively. Top goal scorers, Neymar with 12, Luis Suarez with 11, Aguirre from Sociedad with 9, Cristiano Ronaldo with 8, and Perez from Deportivo La Coruña with 8.
All right, so how about the Bundesliga? Do you got that information up yet?
Yes, I do. In the Bundesliga, our last week's feature match was Schalke against Bayern Munich. We predicted a 3-1 victory for Bayern Munich. The result ended in a 3-1 as well. We got that correct. Goal scorers from that match was, give me 1 second. It was an own goal from Leon Goretzka to make it 1-0 to Bayern. Max Meyer equalized in the 17th minute, and goals from Xavi Martinez and Thomas Muller to give the 3-1 victory to Bayern Munich. As the table stands at the moment with this win, Bayern Munich with 37 points, Borussia Dortmund with 29 in second, in third, Wolfsburg with 24, Hertha Berlin with 23, Borussia Mönchengladbach in fifth with 22, and in sixth, Bayer Leverkusen with 20 points.
That'll do our league coverage. Let's head over to the week ahead. And actually, Rob, I'm going to throw it back over to you. And keeping in mind, we do have Champions League matches this week and Europa League matches for the Thanksgiving folks here in the United States.
Yep.
Rob, match of the week in La Liga.
Yep, our match of the week in La Liga is going to be a match between Sevilla and Valencia, Sunday at 2:30 p.m. I think that given the form that Sevilla have been doing, they've won, I believe, their last 2, if I'm not mistaken, are unbeaten. I think they have the capacity to maybe beat this side, honestly, this Valencia side. And I predicted a 1-0 victory for Sevilla.
1-0 for Sevilla over Valencia, and that is Sunday at 2:30, you mentioned, correct?
Yes,
okay,
correct.
Cool. So let's go over to France. In Ligue 1, we have Marseille and Monaco playing in Marseille on Sunday at 3 p.m., again, Marseille, who really got out to a lousy start this year, have worked their way back into the table to not necessarily challenge for their European positions just yet, but they are certainly working their way. But this Monaco side has been playing very, very well. As also, I'm going to take, even though this is on the road, I'm going to take Monaco with a 2-1 victory in this one. I think they have enough to pull that road victory out here. So, Mike, if you are still here with us, what's going on in the EPL this week?
Leicester versus Manchester United, 1 versus 2, 12:30 p.m. on Saturday, and I'll put the predicted score up on Friday.
Fantastic. Rob, Bundesliga.
That's right. We have Bayern Leverkusen against Schalke, Sunday at 11:30 a.m. This is going to be quite a tough match for Schalke, honestly. Bayer Leverkusen are in some great form recently, and Schalke, with this loss, are definitely out of form. But I think I'm going to go for a Bayer Leverkusen 2-0 victory.
2-0 victory for Leverkusen in this one. Let's go over to Italy, where our match of the week is a great one, and this one's going to be a game time discussion for us, gentlemen, because it'll be kicking off Monday at 3 p.m. The big Napoli-Inter match, and we got a chance to talk to both Kevin and Andre tonight about Napoli a little bit. We get to talk to Italy a little bit we got to talk a little bit about Italy with both of our guests. But Napoli, as unimpressive as they were this weekend, they really didn't, like I had mentioned earlier, they didn't really have that bite. And you saw that bite a little bit out of Inter, although the opponent was a much lesser foe. But this match in Napoli, I think this one is going to be a high-scoring match, and I think I'm going to go with a 3-2 victory for Napoli in this one. Let's put a goal on Lorenzo Insigne in this one as well. I think he didn't have a great game in this past weekend, so I think look for him to make a much bigger impact on this one. So we did give our predictions and scores for the MLS matches as we had talked earlier. Rob, I did get your predictions there, so I did list them. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Champions League, which on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, 2:45 p.m., our match of the week. I know I could have picked the Juventus-Man City match, But for me, both of those teams are going to qualify. They're both going to come through. And it's just a matter of when Juventus picks up that 1 point that they need, whether it be a draw against City or a draw against Sevilla. Either way, they're going to qualify. So, okay, you think I'm wrong?
No, I love your confidence. Love your confidence.
I got a draw. I pick a draw.
You pick a draw for Man City?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it, because they're playing at Juventus Stadium. They've lost, 4 games there in the past 5 years? So I'm not saying they're going to lose to City, but... City didn't exactly blow it up this weekend.
No, I just love your confidence. They can't lose either of those games. I get it.
Well, it's not that they can't lose either. I just don't think they. I think between the 2 games, they will get the 1 point they need to qualify.
You're going to be really down though if they don't, aren't you?
I will be depressed. Yes, I certainly will. But
I agree though. I obviously think they'll both. It's just that like your supporter confidence.
There you
it's
go.
only a matter of who's going to face the big boys as the second seed or the first seed.
Exactly. So
you're surprised City got through first though, aren't you?
Oh, they're not there yet.
Yeah, we're through.
Well, they got through first. Okay.
I don't mean in first place. I mean
they're in the round of 16.
Yeah, I thought you meant in first place. I was like, it's not done yet, but okay. So the match of the week that we've chosen is tomorrow's 2:45 match between Bayern Munich and Olympiacos. And the reason I chose this match, gentlemen, is because this is the key that Arsenal need to get back into this. If Bayern come up with a destruction of Olympiacos, then Arsenal really holds their destiny in their own hands. If Olympiacos finds a way to pull a point out of this, I think Arsenal's completely done. Which, again, you start to talk about English coefficients and that sort of thing. It could be really damaging, especially the way Chelsea's playing. So, Bayern Olympiacos at the in Germany in Munich. I am gonna take a Bayern victory in this one. I'm going to actually take a 3-0 victory for Bayern here. I think they destroy them. Rob, how about you?
4-0 Bayern.
4-0 Bayern. Mike, do you want to go 5?
Nope, I had 3-0 too.
3-0 as well. So we're taking a massive destruction of Olympiacos, opening that door for Arsenal to possibly get into the knockout stages. So in the Europa League this week, we have a pretty good one in the Europa League, guys, this week. Again, Bordeaux and Liverpool Thursday at 3:00 for those just finishing up your turkey and getting ready to watch the Cowboys play at 4:30. You've got this one on hand. Liverpool, obviously, with what they did this weekend to Man City was pretty impressive. Bordeaux really escaping by the skins of their teeth with the penalty save in stoppage time to draw Rennes in France. I do think Liverpool is really playing incredibly well right now. I'm actually going to take the same score line for this one. I'm going to take Liverpool 3-0, and this one is in Liverpool. So I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool. Mike, how about you?
3-1 Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool, and Rob?
2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool. So there's our matches of the week. Mike, if you want to give the trivia question again, first of all, did Liam get it?
Yes, he got it.
Of course he did. Rob always gets it done. Liam always gets it done. So
I might get it done.
Rob gets it done sometimes. Yeah, you never do, though.
No. I did get it once.
Oh, okay.
You did.
I'm taking that right to the bank, pal.
Well, Rob says you did, so you must have. But
there you go. So
no, it escapes my memory.
Well, that's what happens when you're old.
Touche, my friend.
Yes,
Touche.
sir. So go ahead with that question.
Which 3 non-European players have won the most Premier League titles?
Non-Euros.
Carlos Tevez.
You're throwing Tevez in there right away.
Really?
I don't. How many did he
win? He has 4. He has 4. Pretty sure he has 4.
4 EPL titles?
Carlos Tevez has 4.
How does he have 4?
Yeah, where did he get 4? Because
3 from United, 1 from. Oh no, 2 from United. So he has 3. Never mind.
Yeah, he's not on here though.
Okay. So.
Hey, unless this list is wrong, but I don't think so.
No. He has 3. So.
Yeah, so that means guys like Zabaleta wouldn't have more than that either. Zabaletta's got to have 2.
You just got to think about the right teams and then go from there.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying. How about Nani?
No.
Drogba.
Yes.
Ooh, Drogba's a good one.
That's 1.
That's 1.
Dwight York?
No.
No.
He's Jamaican, though. I was going to say, yeah, no, that would qualify. You're right, but no.
Wow.
Can you give us the team?
It's got to be
Man United.
As I say, that's why I went Nani. How about Antonio Valencia?
No.
How
about a Korean?
Oh, Park-ji-sung.
Brazilian.
Park-ji-sung. Anderson.
There you go. Park and Anderson.
Okay.
Not bad.
Well, again, I was non-contributory. What else is new?
Would you have got it with those hints if Rob hadn't have said them, Joe?
I might have gotten to Anderson eventually.
Not Park.
I would have missed Park. I'm almost positive I would have missed Park.
That was really good, Rob, that you got Park.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so gentlemen, I think with that in mind, if I can find the closing music on my computer as it messed up tonight, I've got the closing music. So what do you say, gentlemen? We close it out?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's do it. All right, finally. So, for episode 99 of Low Limit Football, I want to send out special thanks to Kevin Egan and André Kfouri for joining us tonight. We had a wonderful time with both of them. Next week,
I think some of our listeners dubbed it the Wayne Gretzky episode.
And I wanted to open that, but with all the technical fail that I had opening up, I didn't get to it. So
maybe we can put it in the summary.
Yep, or the Carl Edwards version of the show. So for episode 99 of Low Limit Football, I'm Joe Usello.
I'm Roberto Rojas.
And I'm Mike Orr.
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving and good night.
Thanks for listening.